Today is June 6th, 2026, and I am at the Torrey Pines glider port. And I just came out of the sky after flying for 2 hours, which was friggin' magnificent and much needed. I went up to Burbank to the Sprinter experts on Monday night and to have the van worked on Tuesday this week, and because they told me several months ago that they thought the problem was the high pressure fuel pump, which is not cheap, and I saved up my pennies, and I got there Tuesday morning after spending the night right down the street on the street, and spent all day, and they replaced the part. Let me see if I can, there we go. And that wasn't the problem. That wasn't the problem. And so they put this place is called Sprinter Experts, and they're the ones that rebuilt the engine in the van, and they're pretty much the gold standard for Sprinter repair. They put this person who's supposed to be like the genius computer expert for these vans on the job, and he spent 2.5 days on it. They replaced the computer. They put in a different chip and all this sort of stuff, and they had me test drive it. And that wasn't it either. They did find something, an oil leak, and replace that part. And this was all after me having, laid out $1,700. So, they get pretty close to like $200 an hour. So the fact that this Sprinter expert this computer expert spent, 2.5 days on it, that would have cost a serious friggin' penny. But as they said, they've never seen this problem before. They've never not been able to fix something, and in their 17 years, notice the number 17 keeps coming up. In their 17 years, they've never not been able to fix something, and so now I'm the poster child for their success in finding something they couldn't fix. So they charged me basically around $1,000, a little less than $1,000. They fixed that oil leaking part. It had something to do with the turbo actuator or something, I don't know. Good to know that it's not leaking oil anymore. Didn't know that it was leaking oil to begin with, but hey, universe is looking out, right? So it was a very interesting conversation where they, basically wanted me to, go away. Because at that point I was costing them money, or they were losing money because their expert was, stuck on this one job. So anyway, $1,000 of the money that I saved up to get this done, and people donated, and I still have the same problem. So I drove back down here yesterday to get a flight, saw that it was going to be pretty good this weekend. Or good enough for me anyway. And the good thing is, one of the best things is, I didn't waste my time when I was there. I was working on the book. And a new development in the book thing is that I've actually broken it up into a couple of volumes, at least 2, possibly 3, and I'm working on both volumes at the same time. And that part feels really good. The whole thing is coming along really well, and one of the things I love about writing books is that you're always working on them, even when you're up in the sky writing, flying around. You're like, oh wow, what if I did this, or maybe I should write about that, or if you're driving, and it's like, maybe I should rework the title, and you know what I mean? It's like having this mental bubblegum to chew. And anyway, I figured that this is probably the best place for me to be at the moment. I can at least fly, I can write, and get this, get the book done. I don't know if I'm going to make it to the Rainbow Gathering. My tentative plans were, once I threw that money at the, solving what I thought was the problem, then I would make my way east to Pennsylvania for the Rainbow Gathering. The Spring Council, I think, is next week. But it came to me the other day that it would be ill-advised for me to attempt to drive the van cross country. I've done crazy things like that before. And if anything goes wrong with it, and I get stuck in the middle of the country somewhere, I got my glider in there, and where am I going? I'd basically just be stuck. So I'm going to, my consolation prize in all of this is, at least I'm here. I can work on the book and I can fly. So, what else does a brother need? Some water. Water the plant, and feed it some fertilizer, and all is good. So, anyway, that's what's up. I haven't given up on making it to the gathering. I just needed to figure out, okay, universe, what are we doing here? There's a lesson in, I had been literally living in a reality that said, if I saved up a certain amount of money, I could throw that money at this problem. That problem would go away, and we'd be fine. I'd be able to go to the gathering and drive to the East Coast for the summer and so forth. I'd be on my way. And now that's not what's happening. I wasn't able to, the throwing of the money wasn't the solution. And that what I was thinking was real for the past 4 months was not. And it's not like I was intentionally deluding myself or trying to avoid something. I was actually trying to resolve a problem. I was facing into the wind, so to speak. I was facing the problem, working the problem. And the result was that the dispelling of the illusion, which is great. I know what it isn't. It's a very expensive answer to the question, like what's wrong with the van. I know what it isn't. If the code that that trips. Just so you know, what happens is if I'm going up an incline or I'm, pushing it above 60 or something like that, the engine light, repair light will come on, and that tells me that it's tripped a code, and that code is code 87. And when it trips that code, it's a coin toss as to whether or not the engine will keep going, or if the engine will just stop while you're driving. And so if I'm on the highway, I know I've got to pull over, and then when you pull over and you shut the engine, the key off, and you can just start the car up like there was no problem whatsoever and go. So this can happen. It can trip that code, even in going 30 or 40 miles an hour if you're going up an incline, or if you suddenly try to give it some gas or something. So I've had to learn how to drive with those conditions, and really take it easy. But the result is that here we are. So I've got to find out I've got to find either a Buddha, or my friend Charlie here is all about asking an AI what the story is. I'm going to try whatever it takes to figure it out. But I'm back on my own, having tried to find the experts or give it to the experts. So the good thing is I'm not in dire straits, like I'm not stuck on the side of the road somewhere. The cars, I can drive it. But with those limitations. So at the moment, I'm, kind of grounded to the West Coast, or the van is anyway. And unfortunately, all that money that I spent, I don't have to just go to somebody else right now. I would have to go, save up. Oh yeah, one thing they did say is they thought that their last resort was that it might be the what's called the wiring harness. It's the electrical harness full of all these wires that plugs into everything, right? So they don't make them anymore. They stopped making them about 7 years ago, and so the only way you can get one is aftermarket, like a used one on eBay or something. They showed me a used one on eBay. It's about $900. It costs about $900, and it costs about $800 for the labor, because it takes somebody 6 hours to take off your wiring harness and reinstall another wiring harness that you don't know if there's anything wrong with that wiring harness until you put it until you start it up. If it starts up. Ooh, look at that. Cool. Marco. So I love this part. So that would be another situation of throwing $1,700 at the problem, and then you don't know if that's the solution until you go to start up the car, because you can spend all that and it not be the problem. So it's all guessing at this point. So yeah, this is what I've been sitting with for the past 2 days. Not really wanting to make any videos because I didn't really know what the heck I'm doing. But there's nothing like spending 2 hours in the sky to get your mind right. What I call sky therapy. A 2-hour flight is definitely sky therapy, because 1 hour is really good, but after 2 hours there's something that happens where your inner ear is still moving or something, so if you sit still, you can still feel the float of the sky, it's just wonderful. So yeah, I don't know about the wiring harness solution. We'll see what happens with that. I don't have the money. I don't have that money. It would have been good to know that before I spent the $1,700 on the last, guess. Didn't know they were guessing. Thought they knew what they were talking about. That repair for the thing that was leaking, the turbo actuator or whatever it was, plus the some oil or whatever, that was about $500, and then they charged me $500 for their expert to go through it and all, so it was around $1,000. They refunded $700, which is great, because I went into my disability that I used to pay my bills, to pay for it, thinking that I was, it would all work out in the end. I'd try to make it up before the end of the month, but at least now I've got what I would have had to make it through the month, so that's good. They didn't charge me all of the money they could have for their expert to not have the solution. So anyway, that's pretty much all the ins and outs of it all. I will certainly keep you posted. As I said, the book is coming along really well. It's really taking great shape, and I'm really enjoying the process of finally getting to the actual writing part of the process of getting this information out. So, and I haven't completely given up on not making it to the gathering, even with my van. We'll see how it goes, but right now it's not looking too good, and if I don't have a solution, if I can't find the solution to this mechanical problem, I'm not about to be putting myself in any sort of precarious situations. If I can help it, I'm not going to try to blast cross country with a van that I am going to have to worry about the whole friggin' way. So I wanted to. The reason I wanted the van is I have my glider, and I also have the big wok and the big pot to do the kitchen at the gathering, the popcorn and chai kitchen. So I didn't want to have to go without that, because once the gathering's over, there's a couple of sites I wanted to fly on the East Coast. So, and I could fly Aspen on the way back, So, and being able to have, access to my porta potty is kind of important these days, because I'm still regulating my colon. And that's coming along really well, but it's, it helps to, like when I was at the mechanics, it's a good thing they have a bathroom there, man, because I was just like, in there like 6 times throughout the day, and that's my reality. I need to be close to a bathroom, because I haven't been able to figure out the optimum type of food intake, and so it can take a couple of years apparently to re-regulate a new colon, so or redesigned anyway. And I am very delighted to be able to poop out my own butthole as opposed to into a bag. So Every day is a celebration for me, man. I'll tell you. If I still had that bag, I wouldn't be able to fly because the harness is right where the bag was. So, there's a definite silver lining to everything, or golden lining to everything, when you look at it that way. So anyway, I'm so glad to be able to be here and to share a smile with y'all, even through all the weirdness, whatever weirdness happens. We're so blessed, just so blessed. I'm so glad to be here, to be alive, and to be able to frickin' fly, man. I mean, does it get any better? Anyway, I'll let that go. Thanks for watching. Thanks everybody that's had me in their thoughts and prayers and has supported me in any way, shape, or form over the years. I'm still here and I'm still at it. So, love and light. And remember, this is an exercise in remaining present, being right here, right now, no matter what is going on. And there's a lot of souls that wish they were alive right now, to have the concerns that we have. I'll just leave it at that.